Hi, I'm Krista.
And I'm Sarah.
And we have this podcast called Have We Talked About? Where two friends at different points in their lives chat about everything in their lives.
From current events to pop culture, from self-care to self-indulgence, and everything in between.
Join us weekly to see what we talk about next. Hey, friend.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Good to catch up once again.
Yep, another week, another, topic and another exciting things we want to chat about for sure.
Honestly, it feels like just yesterday that we spoke.
Well, we talk every day.
But not like for work basis. We just kind of talk, right? Not
exactly.
For the purposes of work all the time. We're starting hopefully to see the beginnings of spring in our neck of the woods, and I think that maybe is helping to alleviate people's seasonal depression and overall good spirits.
Yep.
We are getting ready for King Charles' coronation. I feel like that's going to come up within the next month or so. And the last pod we did, which is not quite a month ago, we talked about being on Team William or Team Harry, and we did discuss the aspect of Harry and Meghan's children now getting the title of Prince and Princess and not really understanding how that came to be or understanding why Lilibet needed 2 baptisms. But one of our listeners was very helpful in providing the rationale as to why Lilibet and Archie have retained their titles again. Based on royal tradition, any children and grandchildren of the monarch by default receive Prince and Princess. So when the Queen was in reign, those were not grandchildren, those were great-grandchildren. And now that King Charles is king, those children now are grandchildren, hence the titles have been restored.
Got it. But then William's children were always Prince and Princess just because of their line to the throne?
Yes, I believe that that's the case there, yeah.
Understood. But why did it take, because, no offense, but the Queen has been dead for months. So why did it take so long? Or is it just now we're hearing about it? It's already been official for 6 months or something.
That's a good, I think because anything to do with Harry and Meghan, the royal family's not acknowledging. And maybe the titles have always been there. We didn't know that they had been given their titles back until we had heard that the baby girl had been baptized again.
Yeah.
So I feel like that information came from the Harry and Meghan camp. And I don't think they would have known otherwise.
Got it.
So thanks to Dorian in Brazil,
that makes sense.
Who gave this particular piece of knowledge.
Thanks, Dorian. That's great. Good to know. And that makes sense. Their grandfather is the king, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's clear that it's not like he was making concessions. It's just part of the whole protocol as to who carries titles and who doesn't.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
The more you know. Yeah.
Exactly. The more you know.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave that piece of information dangling in the universe for too long. I definitely want to clear that up. Because we probably will cover the coronation, or at least do a debrief.
Yeah, for sure. The
as
good,
Canadian.
The bad, the funny, the ugly.
The WTFs.
Exactly. Totally. So Krista, what are we chatting about today?
We are going to talk about finding friends in adulthood. What that looks like, how it's different, how it's difficult, depending on where you are in life, and how maybe those relationships have changed for those who retained childhood friendships and how they look like then versus how they look like now. I think what's really brought it to light is since the pandemic and people moving away from being in the office, there is a greater sense of people that are suffering from loneliness because of the lack of friendships.
For sure. And the lack of connection and everything. Absolutely.
Right. So thought that might be a good topic for us to both delve into because we are friends as a result of working together, but also come from different points of view because we are different ages and stages of life.
Yep, absolutely. I feel like when you're a little kid and you're in elementary school or daycare, you make fast friends very, very quickly. You can say, "Oh, I like your lunch box." Boom, friends. And then as you progress into elementary school, high school, university, college, I think it's a little more trickier. I think you find your friend group or friends or whatever, maybe based on similar interests, maybe
Sure.
based on the classes you're in, things like that. But then I feel like once you graduate from a university or college, it's whether or not
Things get
you
different.
maintain those relationships.
I agree with all those points. I want to ask Sarah, were you a person that did make friends easily in childhood, like in elementary and kindergarten? Because I was not. I was a very shy child. So building relationships has always been difficult for me from a young age.
I think I did. I'm an only child, so I think I always seeked friends and
Okay.
seeked that companion and seeked relationships because I was alone.
Uh,
Right?
Alone being
So I
being an
always,
only child.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Uh,
So I feel like, yeah, I had lots of friends in elementary school, a ton of friends in high school,
Popular.
things like that. I wouldn't say, I think I had, well, I know I had different friend groups, especially in high school, you know?
Regina George vibes. Got it.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not. But I think, once you graduate from high school and you go to your post-secondary school or whatever, you get busier. You have classes, you meet other people, and it's hard to maintain those current relationships in high school.
Yeah.
Do you have, right now, to this day, do you still talk to anyone or have friendships with anyone from elementary school?
No, I
Neither
don't
do
have
I.
friendships with anybody from elementary school or high school.
I have high school, but not elementary school. Like, do I have them on Facebook and Instagram? Of course. Duh.
Sure.
If I
Of course.
see them around, I think I may say hi depending on who it is.
Definitely agree to that. Yeah.
But like, that's elementary school. Like, my goodness, we were like so young. So much has changed. Okay,
Y-
do you still have friends from like post-secondary school, like maybe college or university?
Yes. My oldest friends are one from university and one from like my first job while I was in university. So around that kind of age
Nice.
range. However, I don't talk to them more than once a year. One I haven't talked to in a few years because
Yeah.
of the fact that we are different stages of their lives. They're married with
Yeah.
small children. They live in the suburbs. I live in the city. So that those kind of life events, I
Yeah.
think, create
Yep.
distances in friendships.
Yep.
I do want to bring up one quick stat based on a 2021 survey that one of the psychology sites that I was looking at had produced, where that the average
Hmm.
person in America has between 3 and 5 close friends.
And then like I'm assuming that's like average age, like 30 or 40.
They don't dig into the demographic in this particular one.
But that makes sense because honestly, everyone is so busy. You only truly need a few good, close, reliable, supportive friends.
Yeah. And I think for those who have siblings, as you get older, those siblings kind of take a role in your life of like friendship versus like sibling because you're just, the older you get, the narrower the age gap becomes. At
Yeah.
least for me, like there's a significant gap between me and my brother of like 10 years. And then there's about 4 years between my sister and I. And now we're all in the same demographic where it doesn't, the gap feels smaller. So we can talk about the same
Yeah.
things.
Valid. Valid. And then in every job that you have held,
Mm-hmm.
have you made a connection or a pretty strong connection with at least, one person?
Ooh, that's a really good
And you may
question.
not talk to them now, and that's fine. But like when you were working at that job, did you have someone like your go-to person?
Not every single job. And since I've been doing more remote work, that definitely hasn't been the case of finding a work friend because of being
Hmm.
remote. Doesn't mean it's not possible, but it's
It's
definitely more
harder.
challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a conversation I had with one of my friends who I had met at a work, in the work environment before, is that the biggest challenge and change in remote work is that you don't have work friends anymore. You can by
Totally.
joining different organizations and stuff, but that's where the loneliness comes in because then you have to find other ways to then create new bonds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what
Absolutely.
What about you? Where is your oldest friend from? You said you had some from high school, I think, right? Do you have any from like college?
I would say my oldest friends, my two best friends, are from high school and then from like an extracurricular activity that I did in high school.
Mm. And how often do you talk to them? Are those every day?
I think it changed over the years we've been
Yeah.
friends, right? One of the girls, we both lived downtown at the same time. So we would chat, we would hang out, we would go for dinner like all the time. We would do different activities together, things like that. The other girl and I, um, we would chat maybe every few months, but we
Yeah.
would always be there for each other no matter what. Like I remember her calling me in like the middle of the night because she needed me, and I'm like, "Kate, I'm coming to get you wherever you are." Like we're just those types of friends. But as
Right.
things progressed in our lives and in their lives, things shift and change. So now that other individual who I'm friends with, we're chatting a lot more because she's getting married. I'm in her bridal party, things like that. So we have a lot more to connect rather than connecting every few months.
Sure.
I would say I lost connection with everyone that I went to university and college with. I kept those connections up for a bit after, of course, for a few years, but then you lose connection, your lives go in different directions. You're busy, you're meeting new people,
Sure.
you're doing new things. I would say in every job I definitely had someone, but it's very challenging after you leave that job to keep up that friendship.
Yes. And I think you're touching on like two key points here of like good friends don't mean that you talk every day, right?
No.
It means that at any point in your life, you can pick up the phone and be like, hey, I would love to see you. It's been a while. And then you guys
Yeah,
pick up like nothing's changed. It's
exactly.
still full transparency and trust in that other person to just like talk about whatever with no judgment and full support. So it speaks to, I think with friendship requires effort, and a
Yeah.
lot of a lot of friendships for me have kind of died down because if I feel like I'm the only one making the effort to connect, I will take a
Hmm.
step back because
Yeah.
then it's not a
It's not
equal trade.
two-sided.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I've had
At the end of the
friends.
day, at the end of the day, it takes two people to have a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or like a friendship. It takes two people, and you need to put in the effort and the time. And if only one
Absolutely.
person's doing it, it's going to fail.
Yeah, it's a dance. Dating is a
Exactly.
dance. Like relationships are a dance where we're both taking steps. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I've had friends where I'm like, I feel like I'm really pulling a lot of the weight and like maintaining it.
Yeah.
I took the step back to kind of see, but also to realize, well, this person doesn't value me, right? And I think for some people, it takes a little bit more time for people to have that awareness to realize that the friendships that they thought were so key and crucial and supportive are not what they thought they were, because they have those moments of like, in a time of need, these people don't want to show up.
Yeah.
Or in my instance, seeing that that person isn't making an effort unless I'm making an effort. And then when I've stepped back, they're like, hey, are you mad at me? And it's like,
Hmm.
no, not mad, just not willing to put in that kind of effort because I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not your boyfriend and I'm not your parent. So,
Yeah.
I think for some as well, that creates like distance in friendships and relationships, which brings me to my next question of, do you seek out new friendships now, given that you have like a busy life? And how do you seek out new friendships? Are they different where you're looking at different qualities or interests given where you are in life?
I think with what we're talking about in this podcast, I think it's hard to find friends.
Yeah.
I have my friends, my two best friends that I have. I have
Hmm.
my friends. I would love to form, and I have my friends from work, like
Sure.
you, and I have a few other people from, previous jobs and
Yeah.
positions. But I would love to have more like mom friends,
Yeah.
because when I had my son 3 weeks after, everything shut down. So my vision of my maternity leave, going to mommy and me classes and meeting
Right.
new people and doing that was completely squashed. I didn't do any of that. I have a few mom friends. They live kind of far away.
Mm. What's
But
far,
I
like
think that's
time wise? Are they like a half
like
hour
an
away?
hour away. Like
Ooh.
an hour away. Like my really good mom friend that I probably talk to every day is probably an hour away.
Ooh.
But that's a stage where I'm at in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and to chat about different things, different challenges, meet up, have the kids play, things like that. I'm seeking more like mom parent friends.
Of course.
In my life. And where do I find that? Who knows? My son is at the age where he's getting invited to a lot of birthday parties now. So maybe that's
Ooh.
going to come through something, or maybe it's more, once he starts school, maybe there's more possibility there. But in my life right now, I feel like I'm just so busy. I barely have time for myself, let alone
Of
to like
course.
form and create that relationship and maintain that relationship. But that's the goal.
Yeah, you're totally busy and you're preparing to bring a new one into the world. And we know that that requires you to incubate a bit while you get into your new routine with the new baby, right? So then that takes you out
Mm-hmm.
of being able to put in the time for a new friendship or relationship. I was reading some stats that said like how many hours it takes to like build like a good friendship versus like a best friendship versus like a regular friendship, and I'm trying to find it.
Oh,
It
I'm
was
so curious what it would say.
a casual friend takes 50 hours on average, while close friendships take 200 hours.
Wow.
And then if you apply that to your life, you could see how work friends become close friends because
100%.
of the amount of time that you
100%.
spend in your workday.
Absolutely. And I feel like I've made really good work friends over my career life.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like people come into your life, like they come into different chapters of your life.
Yeah.
They'll help you through something, they'll support you through something, they're your friends for years, and then at the end they leave, they their chapter has ended and they leave your life, and that it happens, especially work friends.
Yeah. They come in for a reason, season, or a lifetime. And
Exactly.
I think that speaks to at some point in my life, I had to realize that not all friends could support all aspects of my life. That there's going to be
Yeah.
my friend that I tell everything to. There's going to be my friend who is down for social stuff.
Yeah.
There's going to be my
Yeah.
friend who is more interested in more low key type of efforts,
Hmm.
but there'll never be a person that kind of suits all aspects of my personality. And once I became comfortable with that, I didn't feel the need to have a person for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You have different people for different aspects to different things in your life. I totally get that. And then what are you looking for, or where are you looking for friends? Or are you looking for new friends?
Currently, I'm not taking applications for new friendships. Um,
Sorry, everyone. Krista is not accepting
this
new
right
friends at
now,
this time.
this is like a waitlist situation. Just because there's a lot going on in my life right now that I don't have the time to build a trust with somebody new, of just
Yeah.
like getting to know them. And in a day and age where everybody can appear so flaky, I don't want to appear that way to somebody just because I
Yeah.
have things in my life that, basically force me to have to cancel plans last minute just because.
Yeah.
But how I was making new friends was I used to go to a lot of networking events
Mhm.
pre-pandemic of like,
Mhm.
women's empowerment and things of that sort to try and like find people in the same space as me. I consider myself an ambitious person that kind of strives for more in my career, likes to take on new challenges, and finding like-minded people like that was and is where I'm at because it's not easy to bond with people who don't have the same vision as you, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because what do you talk about? And then, of course, I do have bias where I only want to be friends with single people. No offense. I'm happy to be friends with married people. But in terms of being able to be social, I am
It's a
leaning.
different relationship. It's a different
Yeah,
friendship.
exactly.
Yeah.
If somebody lives in the city, last minute, can you meet for a drink?
Yeah.
To talk about the strifes of dating and
Yeah.
the like. Those are kind of people I'm ambling towards because also I've had friendships that have reached their season and end of season because those same people have moved out of the city or got into
Exactly.
relationships,
Yeah.
and unfortunately you have to like move on.
Yeah.
um I do use Bumble for networking, So I have found friendships by using the social or friendship or BFF aspect of Bumble.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it doesn't let you turn off the dating aspect while you look at the BFF aspect, which is why I'm always in and out of
Oh,
online
geez.
dating. Yeah, they force
Got
you to
it.
keep it open. And so, yeah, I've met some great people through there, and still
But
maintain
I
those
do think that's a
friendships.
good, yeah, and I do think that's a good point, though. I do think people in their careers meet friends or acquaintances
Mm-hmm.
at networking event, at industry events, at specific job events, potentially through dating. Maybe you date someone and you find someone great that you like, maybe through a friend or through
Yeah,
family. Potentially maybe you get really close with a cousin or something and they become your friend more than just a cousin. But I do think through work there's a ton of ways to meet friends through industry events and all that stuff, through networking. I think a lot of people meet other people that way.
I think that's a great tip. And that's something that probably in this day and age and environment that we as individuals have to make more concerted effort to do because there is no pressure to be outside anymore. There is no
Yep.
pressure to be in the office. So it seems like double the effort now to go to that event when you've
Yep.
spent 5 days working at home at your leisure and now you want to like get out and go. For me anyway, as an introvert, going on public spaces like that is very overwhelming. So I would never go
Yeah.
to like a networking event solo dolo.
No,
Um,
neither. That
right? Like,
is terrifying.
yeah. Not that I haven't. I've done brunches like that, solo, no problem. But something where
Mm-hmm.
you stand around and like there's like a cocktail or something. No, I will absolutely not do that. What do you think is different now as you're older in finding friendships, new friendships versus things that didn't matter when you were younger? For me, I find that really my ability to trust somebody is
Mm-hmm.
paramount
Mm-hmm.
versus my younger years where maybe I gave people the benefit of the doubt and told them everything about me,
Totally.
like was like an open book and then got burned by it. And now I tend to be more cautious and I don't share a lot of my life with people until I guess I've hit that 200-hour mark because
until you feel like you can trust them and they've
yeah,
and they've made it known that you can trust them. Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that's a huge aspect in a relationship, in a friendship. Trust. I
mm-hmm.
think that's a good question. Maybe communication, and I know that's pretty bland, but two people need to put in the effort, and maybe I'm providing you with all the info or all the, newsworthy stuff and gossip stuff, but you're not providing me with anything. It's like, I don't know about this. But it
I
all
think
comes down to
you
trust.
ooh, that's a good one. But I do find mostly most people are very closed off and don't share.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, if you feel like you're sharing and they're not giving something back, I completely recognize that with people that you want to be wary of. Though I do feel that I have a tendency that if I feel like instinctively I can trust someone, I will share more to see if they eventually break down.
Open up.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you know me, I like to wear people down, right? Like
Yeah.
I try and be as real as possible to see, and I don't want everybody's skeletons, but also I don't want your professional corporate answer and everything
Totally.
as a real friendship, right? Like,
Be a human. Be a human
yeah,
being.
like you had a bad day or like you have a headache. Like nothing is more annoying than talking to somebody being like, "Hey, you seem off. Is everything okay?" You're like, "No, I'm completely fine. Why would you think that?" And it's very clear that
Yeah.
they're not 100%, and maybe you just have a
Yeah.
headache. And
Yeah.
let's just say that. Let's
Yeah.
normalize just being transparent.
Totally.
Understanding that there has to be boundaries in place in like a professional working environment.
Hmm.
Let's be open to feedback. One of the things I struggled with in friendships with women is I grew up in a culture that was very blunt, good and bad feedback. So in friendships with women, I struggled because women seem to need a lot of support. And I'm not saying that's wrong,
Hmm.
but as a good friend or even somebody that maybe just has a natural coaching skill, if I really want you to be better as a person or see you succeed, I can't see you doing the same dumb thing and be like, yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
Right?
You're going to say something.
Yeah. And I think that that's also where I probably lost some friendships with relationships where I'm like, girl, you're doing the same dumb thing and you're coming to me with the same dumb problem. And I'm giving, let me know if you're just venting or you want a solution, but stop asking me for a solution that you have no intention of applying.
Yeah.
I've lost
Yeah.
a friend actually because she would come to me with a relationship advice so often that she would go back to her boyfriend, who was then became her fiance at one point in time, and tell him, Krista said this and this and this about the relationship.
About her relationship.
Yeah.
And then she was telling him, ooh, no.
So, needless to say, that would cause tension between him and I.
Yeah,
and as a result, we don't talk anymore. As a result, they also didn't stay together. So that was probably a bad choice on her part. But yeah, like I've learned not to get involved in people's relationships, and not that people can't come and talk to me about their relationship, but I'll say, listen, I can give you my perspective. I want you to be happy as your friend, but I have a subjective view because one, we are friends, and two, you're only telling me your side. Mm-hmm. So it's never going to be a balanced view when I give you feedback. And also, I don't want to be involved in your relationship.
Yeah, that's your relationship, your life.
Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, you do you. You want to go back to him? Great. Do I want to hear about it all the time? Probably not. But I'm willing, like, I'll just assume you're only coming to me with the bad things. But please, when he does good things, share that too. Because I want to have a balanced perspective of this person that you're spending, your intimate moments with.
Valid. That's valid. And would you say, because the stat you told us a little bit ago, the average American has like 3 to 5 friends or close mm-hmm. friends, would you say that aligns with you?
No. I would say I'm in the 1 to 3 category. But I would also say that maybe something that needs to be taken into account from the American perspective that is probably slightly different from the Canadian is that sororities and fraternities are very huge in the States. And there is this implied code of honor and camaraderie within those organizations where every year they still have trips, alumni trips. I had a boss who was part of a sorority, and she left school 10 plus 15 years ago, and it was still going on these type of retreats with these people where it's like, no, you're like a network, you're a sisterhood, and you're bound to like be friends until like the end of time.
Forever.
Yeah. And have these kind of forced engagements. I mean, obviously she wouldn't go if she didn't want to. So I think that that's where that number for me still seems a little bit higher because of the focus and attention to those social groups that's part of the college experience.
Valid. Yeah. And like you mentioned, we don't really have to the extent that they have in America.
They exist here, but they're not as prevalent as they're not part of the social fabric experience.
No, totally.
So how many do you fall into? Do you fall into the 3 to 5?
Again, like my question is that considered best friends or is that considered friends?
Well,
tell me best friends.
Tell me how you draw the line.
3
close friends.
Close. Well, then maybe close friends. I would consider some people close. Yeah. I would say that's aligned.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Not that should be the goal.
No. Everyone's different. Everyone's busy. Everyone has their own priorities. Everyone's doing their own thing. Whatever works for you. Maybe you have 10 friends that you're really close with. Like, oh my God, good for you. I just don't have time or energy for that.
If you have 10 close friends, you must still be in your like 20s because life is way too busy.
Yeah. Well, you see some like wedding bridal parties and then like both sides have like 7 people and you're just like, what the heck? You couldn't choose? You couldn't narrow it down a bit?
Unless you come from a big like Italian or Portuguese family or something where that's the expectation that you're going to have your siblings and your cousins in it. Those big wedding parties always blow my mind. Because
like,
I would never
truly close with all of them. Are you true? Like, are they truly your closest friends?
And it turns out that they're not.
Exactly. And then like a year later, they don't even talk to like 2 of them.
I was a bridesmaid in a wedding once that I won't do that experience again. For a close friend who I'm still friends with. And it was me, her other close friend, her cousin, and her sister-in-law. And her sister-in-law she wasn't close with. But there's the expectation, right? That you have to bring those people into the fold. I couldn't even tell you who I would bring into my wedding. I don't believe in weddings. I would probably just elope. But who would I bring? I don't know. Who would I bring my best friend? It would just be my sister, so I wouldn't have to even have that issue.
And that's fine. Everyone's different, right? Everyone has a different vision or whatever. And that's totally fine.
How many bridesmaids did you have at your wedding?
I had my maid of honor, and then I had 2 bridesmaids. So 3 altogether.
And would you consider them all your best friends, or were some of them close friends?
Best friends and then sister-in-law.
See, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that catch. Are you close with your sister-in-law?
She lives in a different province, so I don't see her often. I wish we saw them a lot more than we did, and we had that relationship. They spoil my son so much, and they have such a sweet relationship with him. I just wish we saw them more, but it is what it is.
Will she come visit when new baby's born?
Probably not. I think probably the first time they'll meet the baby is probably going to be December. Yeah.
Not too bad. Still.
Yeah. Yeah. And then where do you think we're going to continue to find friends in our future when we get older and we're slower?
At the nursing home.
Right? I know. Like, I don't even know where people meet friends. I guess through activities. Like, I do want to join a few adult activities and stuff when I'm a little bit older and have a little bit more time. Maybe through that? I don't know. Maybe through kids. That's what I'm guessing as well.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head with those 2 aspects. Definitely making an effort to do activities. I used to be part of a running club way back when I did running. And made a couple of friends through there. I haven't talked to them, obviously, in a long time. But I'm sure if I saw them again, I would be like, hey.
Totally.
How's it been? Totally. And again, my sister has made social friends through her son's activities. Like hockey's a big thing for young boys. So I imagine you will also be part of that social circle, taking Hayden to games and tournaments, having other hockey moms there at the rink, and then building the friendships that way. Yeah. Which is good. I think sometimes, again, you have to put it into the category of what type of friendship is this, because this person's a hockey mom, but do they have the same interests as you? Do they look at things the same way as you? Like, exactly. When you have that coffee or meet up, like, how much of it are you actually talking about things that you enjoy, and how much of it is just like small talk
about the kids or about the activity or whatever? Totally. And then I think also as we, continue in our corporate life, we'll find friends through there as well.
What are some of the aspects of or traits that you think attract you to be friends with somebody or have a kinship with? Like for me, if someone doesn't have a sense of humor, there's a good chance that
oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
and that person aren't going to click because my humor is very specific.
Yeah.
And then people that can be real and not, probably not always glass half full type of people. Like sometimes a bit of realism is always important. Are there other things that you, I don't know, think yes, this is all of my friends always have this number one trait, they're type A's or they're very outgoing.
Yeah, I would say definitely on the type A scale.
Which is so crazy because I am a type B.
I know. And I think, again, we've talked about it in previous episodes. We are very opposite.
We're opposite.
Completely opposite. It's so funny how close we are because we are not the same person at all.
No. The humor, I think, is where it aligns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
I would say the same thing. I look for people who, especially at work, if you're just all work, I'm just ugh, you're boring. If you can have a laugh and step away from your computer for a second and shoot the shit for a few minutes, I'm okay, cool. You're not a robot. Okay, that's awesome. And then if we align on some similar interests, that's always great. Maybe favorite movie, TV, what's new in the world, things like that. I think that's always great. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they truly listen to you, so maybe if you tell them something personal and then maybe they're supportive or they follow up oh, how did that thing go? How is that going with this? Things like that. So maybe they're actively listening. I really appreciate that as well. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Understanding that people can be forgetful sometimes, but showing an overall investment, I think, is key.
Yeah.
How, even though I feel like I'm becoming this person, how do you feel about people that are like, come to work, only do work, and then leave, and they're like, I have all the friends I need. I don't need any more friends at work. Are you put off by those type of personalities?
No, because we
I
don't
am.
have to be friends.
It's true.
We don't have to be friends, especially like if that's what you're putting out. Be like, okay, that's cool, but like I still want a good working relationship with
Yeah,
you. We
of
don't have to
course.
be friends, but let's have a professional working relationship, right?
Totally. Those people do put me off, even though I'm a person that's not necessarily looking to make friends at work. If I, at the root of my soul, can make an effort to be funny to you, my expectation is that you take that humor and you accept it graciously.
Have you said a joke and then someone has like not laughed at work?
Absolutely. Because they don't understand my dry humor. That's most people.
Mm-hmm.
I find
Yeah.
more people than not don't understand my humor. So they think they're like, oh, fuck, she's blunt. And I'm like, I'm blunt, but I'm also just like saying what it is. And I
Yeah.
do have a tendency to have a lot of self-deprecating humor, which can veer on very extreme sometimes. So then they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, does she need to like have mental health help? And I'm like, no, just exaggerating. I'm not literally going to jump off a cliff, but
Yeah. I would say like about when I'm in the office, I'm usually a positive and bubbly person, and I'll go up to people and say, "Oh, hey, how are you? How's this
true.
going?" Da, 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 da. Like that's just who I am. But to actually form a friendship with someone is completely different.
Yeah. Do you think
Like
I'm
I
a
feel like
friendly
I would
person
be.
in the office?
Yeah, because you when we were in the office and when we were working together, like you would leave your desk. Oh my god, shocking. And you would
Hmm.
like go to the kitchen and grab your tea or your water or whatever, and then you would have personal conversations with people, you know? Like, yeah, that's a nice thing to do. Some people just like get up, go get water and go back to sit down. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I know you're
like
busy,
the
but like
payroll
everyone's
lady.
busy. Like relax. Yeah, exactly. Like you can be nice. You don't have to be a robot. Come on. But it is what like whatever.
As you advance in life with like more life events, not necessarily age, does your significant other play a bigger part of your friendship circle and like that support? Because that's what friends are really doing. They're there lifting you up, supporting you
Yep.
through like day to day stuff. Is it fair to say that that spouse takes more of that load as you get older and have more kids and life gets busier?
Yeah, for sure. Because at the end of the day, he's my best friend.
Ooh, is
Yeah,
he
sure,
part
he's my.
of the 3 to 5?
I actually didn't even include him in that. I totally forgot about him.
Sorry,
But yeah,
hubby.
no, he's my best friend. At the end of the day, we're very alike. We share a lot of
Mm.
same interests. I'm obviously more type A than he is.
Oh, I was gonna ask.
But yeah, for sure, for sure. I want to hang out with him every day and just shoot the
Aww.
shit or do whatever. Yeah, go to Walmart. I don't even care.
Right? But isn't that what friendship is all about? Is like going and doing errands together? Like
Yeah,
the best friends are like, let's just like go and like pick up a plant, even though I don't like plants.
yeah,
But just like as an example,
totally,
we both have to do
totally.
groceries. Let's just go do a grocery run.
Exactly, exactly. Because you know what? It's going to be more fun with you than without you
Yeah,
there.
I
So,
agree.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Having friends or friendships aren't just about the events. It's about just the day to day.
Yeah. And also when potentially something rough or something bad is going on in your life, you truly see how your friends react and support
Mm-hmm.
you through that. Sometimes you may lose a friend
Yeah,
because of it, and it's hard, but you want the people around you supporting you and being there when you need them, because
of course.
at the end of the day, life is not all rainbows and butterflies and
It's not.
unicorns.
And as you get older, that's more evident where you have real life shit that comes and
Yeah,
hits you in the face.
yeah, exactly.
Have you had betrayals by friends in during your adult life? I mean, even in your childhood too.
Betrayals. I'm just trying to think. Have
Mm.
you?
Oh yeah.
I don't think betrayals as more the friendship just fizzled
Mm.
or it just, disappeared
Yeah.
because none of us were communicating with one another. I don't think that I can remember. No, like hardcore betrayal. No.
What would be like considered a betrayal for you now where you're like, this is like a straight violation of a boundary and I will not continue speaking to you? if this happens.
Oh, okay. I got one.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, first job, I was dating this guy for a year. And then my friend at work, who I thought was my best friend because we hung out outside of work, started doing things behind my back with him. So I was like, drop kicking you. Bye-bye. You're done.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you cross me in that way, like, you're on my like X list. I will never talk to you again. It's going to be a very long time for me to trust you or even talk to you when you do something slimy like that.
Absolutely. I co-sign that 100%.
Yeah.
I've had a couple betrayals in my lifetime. In high school, I would say she was a friend. She wasn't necessarily close. She's in between, like, not just an acquaintance, but not a best friend, like from elementary that continued into like high school. And we were in the same math class together and sat beside each other. Nice. Obviously had been friends, that whole time. And she had stolen my math notes out of my locker and
oh my God,
tried to accuse our math teacher at the time of like being bad at her job by incorrectly failing her on a test by using one of my old tests to pass off as hers.
What?
Yeah. And then got her parents involved, and her parents were trying to act like I had done something in this situation. It was whoa. Like the girl was like a straight liar and still would not admit to stealing my binder, right? At the time we had binders. I don't know what the fuck kids use nowadays. It's all digital, but I had to physically write out my notes. But I mean, I had to write an exam at the end of the term, and I didn't have, like, she never copped to the fact that she stole it. Even though my locker partner at the time said, yeah, she took it and said that you said she could borrow it, but I never saw it again. So I almost failed that class because that bitch stole my shit. Yeah. And so that, to me, that's a betrayal. I still don't talk to her to this day. I hope she enjoys my Instagram feed because she follows me like a stalker to this day. She's in a relationship with a guy that I went on a date with years ago.
That's funny.
I'm pretty sure he told her that, which is why she stalks me. But yeah, there's things that you just like, that's betrayal of the highest order now. Like, you're implicating 100%. Me in a crime and you're still not copping to it. Like, I was a lot nicer then than I am now. I would have caused a bigger problem.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, you need to, what am I trying to say? You're better than that, and you don't need friends like that. You can find other friends, and you can move on from that psychopath, and you don't need people in your life like that, right? So, I think that's a good call.
Yeah, and I know I sounded very passionate, like I was still heavily invested in that situation. I'm not. Obviously, I don't ever think about it. But I do think it speaks to people and their friendships and their boundaries, because I have had, obviously talked to other people and they talk about their friends or their friendship groups. And it's quite clear that people have very loose boundaries and let their friends get away with a lot of bullshit, which is why their friendship circle may be a little bit bigger than mine, where it's like, wow, this person can flake on you. They can make you feel small. They can exclude you from stuff because you still have this high school mentality of like being popular and leaving people out. And you are just okay with it. And like, I refuse to succumb to any of that type of pressure. And I don't think anybody can emotionally grow without setting those healthy boundaries.
Agree. And you don't need people in your life like that. Why do you think you need people in your life like that? You don't.
Because people are pressured to be popular and liked.
Okay, but you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s. Who cares at this point? We're not in high school. We're all done high school. Who cares,
Some people don't leave high school mentally though, Sarah.
That valid, touche. And they don't.
We've had our share of like office politics where we're like, are we in high school again?
Valid. No, I feel like in any workplace, there's always some high school drama. You're like, wait, are we back in high school? But
I mean,
you need to separate yourself from those people.
Or just don't involve me. I will still get the popcorn going and watch from the sidelines, but do not involve me in any capacity.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to hear all about it because I'm petty.
Oh, I like the gossip. Please tell me. Yeah, 100%.
But I don't want to be involved.
I just want to be 100%. 100%. I just want to be, watching from the sideline. That's funny. Yeah, no, people need to, I don't know, just like, you're better than that. You don't need people in your life like that. Come on now,
You definitely have to have your own sense of self self-worth, and that also translates into dating. I think the same women who struggle with those relationships struggle in dating as well, because they're people pleasers. They want to come off as team players. They don't know themselves enough to say no. They're just trying to be whatever the other person wants them to be. And it's like, how can you internally feel joy or not exhausted from always trying to play a part?
Yeah. But I have to say, I'm definitely a people pleaser.
You are a people 100%. Pleaser.
100%. But I'm trying to get away from it, but it's hard.
Well, some things are just, if you're a person that also feels charged by being around people, I think then as a result, you may be just by default a people pleaser, but not in a way that's detrimental. It doesn't always mean that it's detrimental. I think you know how to say no when it's appropriate.
Yeah, valid. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know where our listeners have found friends over the years. You know, is it at work?
Yeah.
Is it elementary school and high school and university and college? Is it through an activity? Is it through... Yeah, I'm just so curious. Maybe they can give us some tips.
And share their experiences. What do they value?
Totally.
Friendships.
Totally. Absolutely. And then what's like your longest friendship you've held? Like mine has been in high school, yours been in university, and at your first job. Like, what's the longest friendship you've held?
And do you agree with the idea that like friendship should probably be categorized in different buckets of like social friends, the go-to in emergency, dire, catastrophic events? Or should it be like, you know, an all-in-one, like a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, where that friend should be able to fit any scenario?
And what do you say for that? I say different categories. You say different categories too?
Absolutely. Different categories. And I do subscribe to the idea that friendship is on like a scale or a spectrum of acquaintance to full on, you know, best friend. Because I do think about people from university or elementary school and high school. And although I was never close with those people at that time in elementary or high school, there's a kinship that exists now that I'm older, that if I saw that person, it would be like a friendship because of the history there and whatever trust is implied as a result. So, you know, those would be not acquaintances all the way, but they wouldn't be friends either. So they'd fall somewhere within that kind of role. I mean, those aren't people I would talk to every day, but.
I have a final question for you, Krista. How do you consider our friendship?
You're one of the people that I had to wear down. I think that there was always the capacity for our friendship to blossom into something that it is now. Given I think that your role within the organization that we work with, that there was just a little bit more of a boundary because it was required. And then once we didn't work together anymore, that loosened and it was able to like have real talk about life, but also have somebody on your side to understand things that you're going through from a work perspective, because I used to work in that environment. And so now, while the friendship is the same, the touch points of communication are more often, right?
Yeah.
It's like, instead of coming into the office or walking by it, now we're just like dropping a voice note being like, did you hear about this crap already? Or did you see this?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, valid. Yeah, no, I think the same way. I just think that we're so opposite. Yeah. But it somehow works.
I think we respect it. Like, I expect that I say black and you're going to say white, and we're going to agree to disagree or come from different perspectives, but know that the end goal is the same. But I think from a value standpoint that we align about like what is right and what is wrong and what is rude and what is good manners. Yeah. And I think we believe in our reputation as being honorable and ethical people. And I think also that's what solidifies us, that like, if you tell me something, you can trust that I'm not going to say anything, and vice versa. And I think that's also why we've been able to maintain contact even after not working together anymore.
Yeah. After not working together for like 3 years.
It's been that long already.
Yeah. Also, we're like hilarious. So when we get together.
Right? Let us know in the comments. It's like, are we good for each other? Or are we opposites attract? Are we like not aligned?
Yeah. Are we toxic?
Yeah. Ooh, I love a bit of toxicity every once in a while though. I don't think we're toxic for each other.
No, I think we balance each other out.
Yeah. And I think for the purposes of our talks every week, we want to be able to come from both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
Single, married.
Two different perspectives. Exactly.
Exactly. Chatting about everything. Maybe next time we'll be able to like have a podcast from like a spa.
Oh my God.
Lofty goals.
Yeah, seriously. Going en route to a spa. Okay.
Okay. Didn't sound like you were against it. Exactly.
I'm down. That's awesome. Well, I think that's it for today. I feel like we covered friendships in general and
agreed.
Friendships in adulthood, which is tough and hard and challenging
and crazy to think about it.
Yeah, it truly is.
Will you be my friend? Like, that's still a thing.
I don't know if adults say that, but
no, but it's implied.
Kind of implied. Yeah, exactly.
You want to go to lunch together? Can I sit with you?
Yes, always yes.
Oh,
funny. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. I guess we'll chat with you next week when we, figure out a new and exciting topic to talk about.
Yes, Miss Sarah. I will talk to you next week, and
bye.